Hello, am I in there? Testing.
Testing.
I had it off.
I don't know.
Unless you want to talk.
I don't know if this is the mute button or.
Mine doesn't have any pictures up on mine either. No, yours just lit up, didn't it?
You should just have to push the big button once and it should come
I
on.
think I just voted no.
Yeah, it doesn't have to come on, they can hear me.
Well, I am streaming if you want everybody else to hear me.
Oh, you also have closed. You also have closed captioning on this.
Uh-oh.
It actually.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me?
How you like that?
See, so everything we say, it.
This is a professional committee meeting.
Well, it's not streaming across the bottom. Shouldn't be.
It is.
The words are?
Yes, the closed captioning. Everything I'm saying right now is typing out.
I don't have that turned on, but I don't know where it's at to turn that off.
Which is weird because chickens and turkeys and buffalo.
Well, I might as well go on and tell anybody that's watching this stream that this is kind of a test for our new production platform system. So we're trying to find out if it's working, and it apparently is, and working maybe better than we thought with closed caption streaming. And I don't know how to turn that on and off, but we'll work on that. And we're here because for a committee meeting with City Services with Councilperson Lewis. And actually, I'm just going to turn the whole meeting over to you. How's that?
Sounds great. Thank you. I have 4 items tonight to discuss. I'm speculating a little bit, but I'm going to start with the ones that I think will need the least amount of discussion. And I'm going to end with the ones that might have a little bit more. So I have, these 2 were given to me on Friday, assigned, 21-037. This is a request for legislation to appropriate $2,667.46 for a replacement wireless router at the transit building. It recently stopped working properly, so this is to replace that. Is there any problems, issues, discussion on that one?
I'd love to.
No problems.
Pinch a penny, but can't with technology. Unfortunately, we're married
Yeah,
to it. So.
right.
Yeah, I have no heartburn.
And with it not working, I mean, you want it to make sure it's working. Okay, no problems on that one.
I would assume we'll waive free read and all of that.
Right, to get that taken care of and paid for so they can get back up and running. Okay, approved. All right. Next, 21-038. Similar situation where it's from transit. The request for legislation to install automatic door openers on the public restroom doors. They had been getting feedback from the public that there's a lot of transit riders that are seniors or people with disabilities, and the public has made a request for the restroom doors to be more accessible. So this is simply one of those like push buttons so they can get into the bathrooms easily. It is $1,400. Well, they have 3 quotes, I guess. So, but it has $1,400 to kind of cover it plus labor. So anywhere from, there's 3 different ones. I don't think we have to approve which one they pick, but they want to appropriate $1,400 for that.
The specs on that, I mean, it seems certainly reasonable price-wise.
Yeah.
And a lot of ridership, like you said, for them is individuals that just make that easier.
For sure.
And certainly more sanitary.
Right.
As well. So.
Right.
It's kind of,
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, the three quotes, there's a $700, $715, 26, and then an $849, 99.
Well, they've, I think Transit's been, I think their budget's in pretty good shape because they've been, a recipient of a couple of the early rounds of COVID money, so
Right.
they're in pretty good shape. So I'm totally on board with that.
Perfect. Okay. Proved that one. Next. All right. We're getting into the fun stuff. So these two I've kind of had, I've been keeping them on the back burner for a little while. I think just because the more, when I get into them, they're, well, one more than other. It starts opening lots of questions or more information, I think. So this is 20-095. This is a request for review of ordinance number 614 dealing with taxi cabs to clarify fees and license requirements and possibly include other forms of livery services. So it just basically needs, this ordinance needs to be updated. It's the last time it's really been updated, they did, let me see here. I think it was 2014. They had to just do a quick little update in regards to insurance. There was some insurance claim. The number was really off. But other than that, the mayor thinks that this probably hasn't been touched in a while. Mainly to add to things like Uber, these new type of cab. I don't know what you call that, rider. The term officially is for that. I did collect, which I can give you guys copies of. I didn't highlight anything, I just have it. But another thing, Kathy Fleckner had emailed me that someone had reached out about wanting to open his pedicab business in Chiillicothe, which is a bicycle taxi. And he just wanted to know if there was a permit to obtain or ordinance that he needed to abide by before doing so. So I don't know about incorporating any sort of legislation on that.
I've been getting emails on that. It's called Bird, and I've gone online and looked at it. You talking about the
pedicab?
No, I haven't heard about the pedicab.
Oh, okay.
But just
no, I think not.
No.
That's more of just like a public
Okay.
means of enjoyment.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
No, this is in regards to somebody picking you up on a bicycle and taking you somewhere.
I have a friend down in Fort Myers that has that business down there. And
one of
they're
those?
like little rickshaws, kind of.
Yeah, I think essentially,
Yeah,
but
something
like
similar to
probably like a
that,
3.
yeah. And he's from here, so maybe that might be him that might have interest.
Is
here.
it a
Never know.
Gregory Carr? Carr. Do you know Gregory Carr? Well, your business. I thought maybe you would know.
No. Sorry.
All right. Okay. So I have here. I've printed off. I went and I got Athens's taxi cab ordinance, Circleville's, Newark's, and that's all. So, secret passing there.
Let me give these
If you want to look at.
Or,
Yeah, well,
yep,
I
okay.
have enough for this.
Okay.
I printed out 3,
Glass.
so
Thank you.
thankfully no one else came. So these are the 3 I just, in regards to referencing. I mean, and then ours, hold on, got confused here. So, I mean, I don't know if it's kind of going through, I don't want to say with a fine-tooth comb, but ours right now has, so the license required fee, so no taxi cab shall operate under a license unless a license fee has been issued to the owner thereof and is enforced. Every license shall expire on December 31st of the year of which it is used. The annual fee shall be $25. So Ours is $25 and shall be in addition to the fee required under the laws of the state on all motor vehicles. Then down here it says, well, this doesn't make sense. Oh, here, sorry, it's amended to read as follows. I skipped that. So it's actually it's $75 now. So it has been changed to $75. It has the original, then it was amended to read that the fee is $75.
So that's our
annually.
current
That's current.
fee for,
And it just says no tax. So then the definition of taxi cab, it simply has the term taxi cab for the purpose of this chapter, defining what that is. So I don't know. I mean, of these three cities, which ones? I mean, maybe Athens might have the most updated. It looks like there's some stuff that was done in 2015.
yeah, that's the one I'm looking at.
I guess there was stuff in on Newark's that was 2012. Some things were updated and passed.
That's still 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I don't even know. I mean, might be like Ubers or stuff. I did also pull Columbus, which of course, like, that's I didn't print it out though, was the only thing, but I had it pulled up. I didn't know if that would be like extreme the other way, or I don't know if we needed all of
Like
that.
overcomplicating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potentially.
I look at their stuff a lot of times, and
Mm-hmm.
it can give you a little bit of guidance, but obviously they're dealing with a much different.
Right, exactly.
they
So I
actually
was trying to think
have-
of areas that were at least I feel like were kind of comparable to us.
Mm-hmm. What is our current definition of a taxi cab? I know that Uber drivers or Lyft have been able to complicate, not really able to, but have complicated, because I'm looking at Athens and it says right at the top on the front page for Athens, and it says that they define it as a driver solicits, secures, or accepts passengers for hire upon hail or request on the public streets. Like, so I think cities have had to go back and like add in
Right.
kind of the app, kind of just so it didn't leave a loophole.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not
So
a.
ours says the term taxi cab shall mean any motor vehicle whose owner or driver solicits, secures, or accepts passengers for hire upon hail or request on the public streets in the city to include limousine services. It does not include a vehicle such as a bus, streetcar, trackless trolley, or other vehicle furnishing transportation to the public. Is it almost exactly
I was gonna
Athens?
say.
Okay.
Who took it from?
So we took it from.
Yeah, I think they took it from us.
Well, it might be a very standard. Newark has taxi cab means all motor vehicles carrying passengers for hire on the streets of the city, except motor devices and except senior sedans. Wherever the word cab, okay. And then Circleville.
I think almost Newark says it by being more vague is almost more kind of catches everything a little
Right.
better. It just says carrying passengers for hire
Right.
on the streets, meaning they're using our. I take it as that they're using the streets, but
Right. Okay. So, yeah, ours has $75. Safety requirements, safety equipment requirements.
how many people act? I wonder. It's just me talking out loud. Shock.
It's all right.
I wonder how many people actually do we give out annually in taxi cab
I bet
fees. I mean, I know there's several.
Uber or Lyft came in, there would be more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know at one point we just really had one.
Right, there's only.
There's, I think, Chiillicothe taxi cab. There was CJ's for a while.
Right.
But when you kind of look,
Because Athens is what, $50? And Newark is $20.
It's not on, but do I need that on?
Okay.
And then Circleville's $25. Ours seems high.
You're echoing. Athens, taxi cab business license fee, $50 per vehicle used by the business at any point. Yeah. I hear me a little.
On Newark, it's the third page, I think, down where it says license fees.
Oh yeah. $20 there.
And then Circleville's on the front page, 25.
Yeah, 25 on Circleville. Second. So, yeah, ours is 75. I'll find the good ones. So we need to review for clarification, so, for clarification of fees and license requirements. So, like for Circleville, it has, the 733-03, or, 03, no operating license required, expiration. It kind of gives, I guess that's where we were talking. A copy of said taxi cab operating license must be displayed. License application. So really, we just need to figure out what wording they're having trouble with, I guess. Everything else, I think, is fine. So it just comes down to what defines a taxi cab. I mean, I guess I don't. So maybe I'll find out how many people apply, honestly, and then kind of, Athens right now has, there's a application for taxi cab business license, and it has defined, which I don't know if we have, I don't know anything like that in ours.
Do we have in ours that the Director of Public Safety shall investigate each applicant for a taxi cab license?
So what it has, so there's the license required fees. It says no taxi cab shall operate under unless a license fee has been issued to the owner thereof and is in force. Every license shall expire on December 31st of the year for which it is issued. The annual fee shall be $75 and shall be in addition to the fee required under the laws of the state on all motor vehicles. Section 3, safety equipment requirements. Bond insurance. That's the one that was updated. Every person driving or operating a taxi cab in the city shall register his name. Oh, wait. forgetting when I notice it changes to the amending. Except for automotive technicians performing maintenance on a taxi cab, no person under 21 years of age and no person other than a driver duly licensed as such under the laws of the state of Ohio and having a valid city-issued taxi cab operator/driver's license shall operate a taxi cab on any street of the city. Anyone operating without a taxi cab license shall be guilty of a misdemeanor of the 4th degree. Kathy, where was it that it said that you were asking about? Like, is it
Look
just
on
in
New Works on the 3rd page, and it is under taxi cab license issued A.
So license issuance. I don't.
So is that kind of like almost like a liquor license? Like
Well, I
when
think
we're
that's-
asked if, are you talking about the Director of Public Safety?
Okay,
shall
so here's
investigate
all taxi cab drivers to be licensed.
I just wondered if it was in ours that any person that applies automatically gets a license. Is there some type of...
That's a good point. I
a
mean, you
background.
certainly
Right.
don't want everybody
Right.
to
And
necessarily.
that's what I liked about that piece.
Of course, I don't know the, well,
So,
I don't know the can of worms on that.
process
Like, what, do you then have to
of-
create a system of, or if that's
I
just
don't
solely
know.
up to the Director of Public Safety, if that would just solely then become their discretion, or
But it says
do you just fall under state law
it
requirements?
does. Under the Ohio Revised Code, it says, but it doesn't say where under the Ohio Revised Code.
Okay.
well, it states, so the fee shall be, okay, each driver of a taxi cab shall obtain from the Secretary of the Board a taxi cab operator license application and shall pay the required fee of $10. The fee shall be collected at the time such application is filled. An investigation will be concluded before the license is issued.
Mm-hmm.
So it has that in there.
So it has it in there, but it doesn't say who's going to do the investigation.
It just simply said, yeah, an investigation will be concluded before the license is issued.
Usually, if there's not a designation, it probably doesn't get
The
done.
application will be investigated for accuracy by the police department and will include a local records check.
Okay.
A BCI and I criminal history check must be submitted with the application. Subsequent BCI history check must be submitted annually by each taxi cab operator driver to the chief of police. The application will include a copy of the current Ohio driver's license, social security number, and any other requested information. So applicants and current licensees must be free of any convictions for an offense of violence as defined in Ohio Revised Code 2901.01, felony drug conviction, a felony theft conviction, felony sexual offense, or driving while under the influence of drugs. Applicants must also have a good driving record. Taxi cab operator driver's license shall be prominently displayed in the taxi cab. Business licenses and operator driver's license shall expire on December 31st of the year the license was issued. This section does not apply when riders are picked up from or delivered to points outside the city. The taxi company owner will be responsible for reporting any felony or DUI convictions of their employees. Failure to report may be grounds for suspension of the taxi cab business license.
It's pretty detailed,
So,
very detailed.
yeah. That's in there.
So do we want to do a little more, get a
Let me
little more
go back with the
clarification?
city and get some questions
Okay.
of what verbiage, because it seems the ones I pulled apparently, they it seems okay. I mean, I would thought Athens would have a little bit more detail, but I'll get with Kathy to confirm
Okay.
what all she needs from that.
And I would like us to maybe even look at, revise it, like taking a look at the fee. It just seems high. I don't want to deter, companies from coming in, but I don't know. But
I wonder, I mean, if there's something with the up,
I don't know.
is it, are we
And,
not?
and I haven't read the other ones. By the time you get to the end of the process, it may be a similar.
Right, that's what I
There's
mean.
some
Right, I
more
just
like
don't-
there's a,
fees in there,
Yeah.
it's, taken out somewhere else, and we just have
Right.
it all in the one. Yeah, I mean, I was looking through. Maybe I need to pull just Columbus's.
I mean, Circleville literally has a taxi cab board.
We do
and-
too.
and-
Ours is defined as the mayor, the auditor, and the chief of police.
I wonder if they even know they're on the taxi cab board.
Put that on your resume.
It's true.
Okay. I will make notes of clarification of fees and license price. So I will follow up with her on that one. And where's my? Okay. January. Keep looking at the date like it's going to change. Okay. All right. Now the fun one. Okay. This is 20-107, request for review of refuse and recycling fees for dumpster and recycle bins and initiating legislation for setting rates as determined from the review. So what this one is, okay, getting organized. Basically, since they started initiating recycling, they've received several requests from different parts. One being, majority of the requests are residents wanting to participate in the recycling program that do not receive trash pickup from the city. So this is like condos, apartment complexes, like that. I mean, there might be others such as probably like the downtown, those apartments.
Well, I know Chiillicothe City Schools, obviously, the city does not service them, but students within there want to see recycling happen.
Right.
And so that would even fall under
Yeah.
something to that effect.
So this is where like, it's like a Pandora's box of like, here's the thing, but then it's like, I'm finding there's
Mhm.
more and more things that are happening. So kind of breaking it down. So we have residential, and that's what we're supposed to be covering with recycling. So we have residents who live in the city who don't have trash picked up by the city, are interested. How can they also recycle? So it's determining fees for them. So establishing a rate for pickup of places that have trash dumpsters. And recycling bags. The other sort of request then that's coming in, people wanting a second recycling bin, which that can be pretty easy. That's just simply, I would think, just a additional fee to either purchase. So I think right now recycling, is it a $1.99 a month added tacked on, I think. Bruce, do you
I
know?
don't know.
With recycling, is it $1.99 a month? Isn't that
$1.95.
$1.95?
$1.95.
So that was added to
Well,
utilities.
When we passed that at $1.95, you should have seen the gallery back here of people complaining about how we were going to drive all the old people out of town. Yeah,
Yikes.
they wouldn't be able to afford it.
So, and that's paid through utilities.
That's set up pretty good to, they calculated with the money that came in originally with the grants that started the program, and then that money would be able to go into a fund to keep a cycle going for replacing, so they could continue to replace the vehicles when needed. I think they had 5-year life expectancy, and it would pay for a new vehicle about every 5 years.
Right.
So it worked out pretty good.
So what the city is asking is establishing a rate for pickup of trash dumpsters and recycle bins that, and then establishing a rate for recycling only. Jeff Carmen had put, the city has the ability to pick up trash dumpsters, and there are several different sizes of dumpsters when establishing fees that we could have to think about. And then establishing a price to allow a second bin. So then I talked with the mayor about this a little bit earlier today, and it turns into kind of like you're establishing fees, but then I was asking him, so recycling started Labor Day 2018, like it was about that time. They had the big initial fees in the beginning. They had the grant, and I was asking him now, currently, and it comes out through our general fund.
Mm-hmm.
The current cost, though, is not necessarily covering the recycling. Whether that's due to just it's the cost of loads and the dumping fees right now, which obviously changes, but currently it's not covering. But that doesn't mean it won't, or if that's just something that we tack on as a service. So I think initially we discuss what a cost is for an additional cart, and then it turns into second is thinking about residential recycling for current people that have dumpsters along those lines. Like that's a cost. And then thirdly, I think then it gets into commercial, because I know we've had a lot of businesses that have been interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily pick up trash for them either. Downtown, I mean, they pick up twice a week, but I know right now they have one of the downtown development committee that was formed. There's one they're focusing a subcommittee that's just focusing on trash pickup, and they've been working on that. So that's somebody I think we could maybe ask for an update of what they have. I can reach out to the committee to see where we're at with everything on that. But there was discussion of having, for downtown businesses, they're technically not supposed to be leaving their trash out. The city's just been picking it up as a kind gesture. But technically, the city's not, businesses aren't paying for that. So, because it's just something they pick up the downtown trash bins, but then people are just putting their trash out because they've not really been told not to. And it's just kind of, not been addressed. So that's the thing. I mean, as a downtown business, I didn't know that for the longest time. I didn't know. And, so they're doing it just because it's always been done. But so addressing, and that's why it's just we're starting to peel back things here. But maybe it's a whole nother assignment of just addressing fixing the trash legislation in general. We're getting into, but
So are you saying businesses? I guess for clarification, businesses or residents, or because we have a lot of people that live in apartments.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of. I think people are always shocked at how many people rent in the literal downtown area. So are you saying they just set out trash as well? I mean, is this also residential and commercial? Is this opposite?
It's both. I mean,
most downtown
you've got commercial businesses putting things out. I won't mention who, but if they get a lot of inventory that week, oh my gosh, there's a pile out front like you wouldn't believe.
right.
And
so they don't have a dumpster either.
But is it down-
I'm downtown. I pay for my dumpster, but I have a place for a dumpster.
Right.
Most of those places don't have any back areas to it. Courtney, where you're at,
Right.
you don't have any back area to do it.
No.
And some of the discussion in the committee that she's talking about in the DDC, talked about setting up areas for dumpsters, and this group in this area goes to that dumpster and puts their trash or something like that to at least keep it off the street. But yeah,
Right.
it's residential, it's commercial, it's everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, building owners, part of their, as a building owner, you need to establish a dumpster or something for your building and
Yeah.
establish where you get the trash, tell them where to put the trash. So, my place, depending, it's usually not too bad, but you have these restaurants and things that have a lot. I mean,
Yeah, and you see it piled up sometimes.
sometimes you see them, and that they're not supposed to have it out front. But sometimes this is where it has to go. But
Yeah.
it's not been enforced in any sort of way.
Well,
Because there's not really been anything established.
Well, and then that creates precedent, and then precedent creates friction.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I can reach out to the DDC group to
Yeah.
kind of just get, an update on where they're at with
'cause
everything.
if they're deep into solving this, or maybe they need a few pieces left,
Right.
then, why recreate the
Right.
They've talked about it for a while, and I've seen some progress on it, not tremendous amount.
Right.
I think it's still up in the air as to solutions. I know that they've worked on it for a couple of years.
Now-
And it would be nice to see that move forward.
Is recycling and trash
Thank you,
coming
sir.
through separately at these? I mean, let's say businesses would get a huge order and they set out a bunch of cardboard boxes, which could be recycled, but does that just get picked up by just the regular trash, or is there actually?
The discussion's been more towards trash than recycling.
Okay.
Yeah, recycling has not been, it's mainly focusing on,
Okay.
on trash at this
Gotcha.
point. There's been several downtown businesses that have been interested in recycling.
Right.
But I don't even, it's kind of like, they're
Yes.
trying to fix
One
this
before you
first.
Yeah.
take care of the other.
And we're getting
yeah.
there. But maybe it's all kind of at the same time. So what I have printed out, I have our current, the Chiillicothes, what our ordinance is, which you can look over. And it has, that's 917.17 is talking about recycling, the recycling department. But really, again, we're talking into things like that of opening lots to address. So, I included, Columbus, of course, has this recycling FAQ, and then the one, the other was, I hope I gave you, I have that one. And the other one that has the Columbus on it is kind of what they have put together for an additional, like they had that on their website to print out, like you can print out that form to get. So the big thing now is determine, okay, if someone wants an extra bin, do they pay still $1.95? Do they pay $1.95 times 2? Like, do they pay extra monthly
For an extra bin?
for an extra bin, or is it just the extra bin? I don't know.
I would assume the $1.95, is, I process out loud, would be obviously some mixture of the initial price that would go toward the actual blue recycling container, and
Yeah.
then obviously the other monies go towards what would be considered the gas maintenance, the
Right.
manpower to
pick it all up.
pick it all up. If they're coming to your house anyway, to get one, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how
Yeah.
that fee is actually, once again, Courtney, you're right, this just, everything you discussed just kind of peels back another little.
It does, and I don't remember when they first started this, how those blue containers were paid for.
There was a grant.
Great.
I thought, that's what I was thinking, that there was a grant.
Yeah.
So any additional that the city purchases, we do have to pay for now.
I think so. But that's the idea, is if,
Or go grant hunting again.
please.
You, I mean, what started the whole thing was
Well, all the bins were paid for by a grant.
by the grant, yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so, I mean, I think they have some extra, but I think,
They do. And
right.
some people turned them back in, so I'm sure they've got more, not
But when they
1,000,
run
but-
out, I mean, is it,
But there's.
if
they
you're wanting
probably
an
got-
extra,
They probably got 100, a couple hundred maybe.
I mean, I had someone who has a duplex, rents out, he's a landlord, has a duplex, and he wanted, I mean, it was technically one house, and he received one bin for
One
it.
for each side.
And he would he asked for one for each side. And I think most of the time, people like that, I mean, they would be willing to pay. There's some people that, I mean, just have a lot of things to recycle as well, and maybe
And
they need an
if
extra
they're
bin.
asking for them, we want them to recycle. That means they're
Right,
going to.
yeah, I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah.
And I think the more people are recycling, then it, hopefully will then start paying for itself a little bit better with purchase, they selling of the loads and things like that. So what I'm thinking, we can find out like how much a cart is, or an extra cart, what would be the cost of that, even though we have extra ones, but I think, finding out what the cost of that is, for the city. I can find out that. And then, we can discuss how, I think initially, trying to figure out how to handle it for residents. That's, I think, the priority wise, even if, if they have dumpsters, how that would work. If the city can pick up the dumpster, would that mean the apartment complex would
Have a recycling dumpster?
switch to, I think it's just in like refuse as well. Like,
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. I'll just have to get clarification from Jeff on how that works.
So if we can pick up dumpsters, is the city interested in then creating that additional business?
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
So
Is
if
the
you were
idea.
pricing it out, you could look at Rumpke, you could look at
Waste management.
waste
I think are
management,
the two.
and then also the city then would jump in
Right,
and offer.
right.
Okay.
Going back a ways, it's been brought up more than once about turning over the city garbage to private haulers. And what you mentioned, Greg, is kind of a partial that, not turning it over to them, but they, from back, and I'm talking, we started talking about this 10 years ago. Back at the time, they go into the city, they give you a teaser rate, it all sounds great. And within about 5 years, it's tripled, and you're sunk.
Locked in.
And you literally can't come back in and get all the equipment back up and running at a reasonable cost. So it would be nice to have dumpsters located, but who do we really want to have commercial take care of it, or do we want to see if the city can handle it?
Right.
My point was asking if the city is interested in
Right,
getting
exactly.
into the,
Because it would require a different truck than what they're using right now. I mean, if they're actually the big dumpsters.
Right.
So,
Columbus Rumpke does it, which I find interesting. They pay Rumpke for it. At least the recycling part. I don't know about refuse, but I thought the one with the form on it, I thought was interesting just because of the terms and conditions of things to think about, return, a $25 return check fee, a warranty, a container is warranted for 5 years from the date of delivery, things like that. Warranty does not include repairs or replacements due to stolen, defaced, or burned containers. I just think making sure we have something like that kind of up, and once we start, if we're asking people to purchase them, I think making sure that that's clear for people. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions that I almost kind of think some sort of analysis maybe of just, seeing, maybe asking, what is our trash, like
Maybe
a
have a
trash
report. I mean,
report?
kind of like, I think it's a great idea. Devin had mentioned, potentially having, department heads come in and just a Q&A,
Yeah.
I'd love to say that
Right.
I'm aware of all of the current, refuse policies and how everything works, but,
I think that would really help us out.
yeah.
So I can see if someone will at least come in or at least provide.
We have another committee meeting, maybe
Yeah.
Yeah,
know,
and just talk.
come in
for
and
sure.
just be able to Q&A with them and say, hey,
Mhm.
there's,
And hopefully we can get,
That's a good idea, Courtney.
yeah.
Greg, would you want to do that with more than one, or just individually have them come in?
I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I mean, at this point, we would just be interested in having them come in, as needed.
Okay, yeah,
And I know they would be willing to do that, but,
right.
with most of our tenure, the three, I guess, I don't know if we're newbies still, but, the majority of our entirety on
Well,
council has
Been on Zoom.
been on Zoom.
Been,
I mean,
yeah, and been distanced from everybody. I know,
not that
yeah.
you can't invite people to come in on Zoom, but you lose
Right.
a little bit of that work session flavor
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
can bounce
Well, you
ideas
tell-
off. So,
If
Let's
I
talk
can
to
help
people.
put
Yeah,
that
hard to
together, by all
This kind
means,
of
I'll do that.
conversation on Zoom.
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, you just interrupt people.
You're like, you're on mute. Sorry.
Yeah, you're on mute. Your mouth's moving.
Can't hear
but,
you.
Dogs barking.
Okay. So I'm going to follow back up with asking to, see if we can get a meeting together with Jeff, Carmen, as well as maybe somebody from in the refuse department to discuss, but maybe Jeff has all that information. And then basically an analysis report. And then he can kind of answer some of these questions.
Jeff?
So.
Jeff would probably be the one to
Right.
give you the best insight,
Right.
and he would be the one to be able to tell you all the ins and outs, for sure.
Yeah. I wanted to get this together just to get those first two meetings, and I know I needed to address these, and I didn't know if he would be able to come tonight at all, just with the kind of a quicker turnaround of a meeting, but I'll make sure to reach out to him first about seeing a date that works for him before establishing another meeting. Are there any other questions that you guys have? Open it to the floor.
No, you've done some good
Anyone?
work here.
Anyone?
as far
In a
as
short
pulling-
period of time.
Yeah, pulling this all
These
together.
just
and-
came out Friday.
Well, two of them. These are the ones I've had.
You've had, okay. Wow.
Don't give me that much credit, please. The other ones were fine. The
We
first two.
We can
checked
move the
out.
other two on.
These have been a few months.
Yeah, I got a dump of committee assignments on Friday, so that's
Yeah,
why they,
you did.
That's why they all
Thanks.
came
Friday night
out.
special there, sir. Other than that, I'm concluding my committee meeting.
Okay.
You're the only
Second
fellow.
motion, fine, done. Good to go. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Don't forget to tip your waiter. Are we still on?
You're supposed to pull these batteries out.
But anyway, I'd like to thank everybody that tuned in. We have all 6 people showing up on the screen that have been watching this evening. We were up at 9 at one point, but any rate, good committee meeting. It's a dry run for this new system here, and for the most part, I think it's worked fairly well. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but thanks everybody. Have a great one.